500 days of cooking steak every day for no other reason than I love steak. I'm going to try not to be an idiot sandwich and try Gordon Ramsay's beef Wellington recipe. Seasoned with salt and pepper, this is a 2-pound center cut tenderloin. We're going to go hot and fast and spill oil all over my back patio. At this point, we're just trying to get a nice sear on all sides, making sure to get the top and bottom as well. I wasn't able to find all of the ingredients that he used in his video, so there are a few substitutes. Starting off with horseradish while it's still warm. While that's resting, I went ahead and chopped up some portobello mushrooms, which should be chestnut mushrooms, and then I used hazelnuts instead of chestnuts. I then added a little bit of fresh thyme and threw that in a pan to cook off any moisture. Next, you want to lay out the prosciutto, which is way harder than it looks. Mine seemed to want to break apart a whole lot, but I ended up getting a nice, decent layer down. Then take your mushrooms and spread them out on the prosciutto. If I were to do this again, I would probably have a lot more mushrooms, but it seemed to be fine. Rolling it up into a nice tight cylinder is definitely a lot harder than it looks. I ended up setting that in the fridge, and now I'm going to get my puff pastry out. My meat cylinder wasn't as tight as it should have been, so I had a little bit of trouble getting it out of the saran wrap. Luckily, I was able to recover and kind of pushed it together to keep it into a nice form. This is my first time working with puff pastry, and I didn't realize it's still pretty delicate. I then end up wrapping it one more time just to make sure it's a nice tight cylinder. At this point, make sure your oven is heated up to 400 degrees. Hit it with an egg yolk wash and kind of do a cool design on there. I was quite nervous at this point that I messed it up, and I was really just trying not to break it apart. He suggests putting it in the oven for 35 minutes, but mine ended up staying in there for 50 total. I did temp it every 5 minutes after the initial 35, just because I didn't want a repeat of what happened last time when I reverse seared. Crust was absolutely perfect at this point, and I was just worried that when I cut into it, it wasn't going to be good. You guys are going to have to let me know what you think, but this turned out exactly as I wanted it to. Maybe Gordon Ramsay isn't such a bonehead, because this thing was absolutely delicious. I think he says he would have this as his final meal, and I'd have to agree, this is pretty good.